Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Alconin. Welcome to Friday's edition, Pre-Market Info.
Market again pretty quiet here overnight, but we did dip down on the December contract to 1674 overnight. We have rallied back and are trading pretty near the highs. We're up $1.25 here, so showing a little bit of strength here after some overnight weakness.
Yeah, we dipped down to Thursday's low, which was 74.75, dipped down to 74 even. Got a nice bounce off that. Uh, Trading just below the high of the day at 1680.75. High close of this move has been 1682, so that's another to keep a level, keep an eye on. And the double top at 83 and a quarter, 84. But maybe these exciting numbers coming out at 8:30 will shake the market up a little bit.
Yeah,
Not.
not. Let's talk about Twitter because that's kind of exciting here. Twitter is doing an IPO. They announced there yesterday. Obviously, there's no stock to look at yet, but some of these other companies you could look at, GSVC, for instance, Joel, that's a private company. They do own shares of Twitter, and that's what the company does. It invests in private tech companies. And as of June 30th, they had about $38 million worth of Twitter. Obviously, the market is banking that investment is going to be worth more here this morning because GSVC is the highest stock. It's up the most here on the exchange, up 17% right now at 14.20.
Right, and hit 14.89 in the pre-market. Have peeled back to the $14 level. Definitely a benefit here of owning the stock here. 14.43 was the recent high, trading back at that level not too long ago. Back in well, actually, it hasn't been up this way in a while, but 14.43, that's the high that we're going to be looking at. Above that, there's a lot of air in this stock going up to like the $18 level, but keeping an eye on 14.43. That's an idea. That's a level to look at, and also 14.89, the pre-market high. But no one got the memo on this one,
Yeah,
Dennis.
leaning the wrong way on that, eh?
Yeah, people were leaning the wrong way in this thing. Got down to 11.50, 11.36 yesterday, closed at 12.14. Getting a nice pop here, but
Kind of opening into
def-
resistance though. Just looking at that high, I know it got over in the pre-market, but you had a high of 14.43 just 4 days ago, and it's trading 14.20 right now. So the stock is going to open into resistance here, which could be an interesting setup. A lot of this move the last month and a half is probably because they still own Facebook shares, I believe. So, and they invest in these young startups. And social media has been hot. There's no doubt about it. Ever since the Facebook earnings, all your social media stocks have really been taking off. Facebook made a new high briefly there yesterday, kind of closed weak. But you've seen stocks like LinkedIn too, LNKD, although it closed weak too, but they've all been on a tear. Even Groupon back in the game made new highs yesterday on its move, trading up here 10 cents too at 11.85. So social media stocks have really been taking off here ahead of this Twitter IPO. So you got to give Twitter some props here. I think they couldn't be doing it really at a better time because social media is hot.
Right. Just taking a look at this stock, it did have that big decline in May of 2012, and that's when the Twitter IPO'd. So it's
Facebook,
interesting
yeah,
to see.
and
Yeah,
Facebook.
Facebook, excuse me, when it had that. Looking at Facebook here, didn't quite get to the $46 level that it hit in the pre-market yesterday. So 45.62 been the high of the move. I'm keeping an eye on a couple levels in Facebook. Number one is 45.04. That's been the high close of the move. And then yesterday's low, been the highest low the stock has had on the rally, 44.62, 75 close. Use that as kind of a protective point here if you're looking to lock in some gains from this unbelievable move here in Facebook.
And LinkedIn kind of had a reversal day there yesterday, Alan Katie. We don't talk about it a lot on the show. September 11th, so Thursday had a high at or Wednesday had a high at 257.56. Yesterday had a high at 257.20 on a $250 stock. That's probably about as close to a double top as you're going to get. Interesting enough, actually, the range from yesterday was very close to the range from the day before. But it was a reversal day and a closed week. So if it takes out that 249 low from yesterday and
Yeah.
248.95 low, so you kind of got a double bottom and a double top in place. So you got some key support here around this whole 249 area. If it does indeed take that out, it could open up to the downside.
Well, yeah, and you're missing the low that you had on the 10th at 49.01. So triple bottom, not a double
Yeah,
bottom, but a
wow.
triple
You're
bottom.
right, Joel.
Yeah,
Wow, that's just
yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Got to bounce off it, and boy, between that 249 and 240 level, doesn't look like there's a whole lot in there. 245.65 might be a little bit of a stopping point, but it'd be very interesting to see if LinkedIn can hold that 249 level.
Let's move on here. Just looking at a couple other stocks. There's a lot of upgrades and downgrades here today. Let's start with Lululemon. Obviously, had a very bad day there yesterday with a disappointing report. Credit Suisse is coming out basically defending the stock here today, upgrading it, saying there's obviously the stock's cheap here. 66.49. It's getting a $1.20 pop here on that Credit Suisse upgrade.
Oh boy, that's a tough one after a big down day
Yes.
like that. But they're making the call here. Let's take a look at what's transpired in the pre-market here. Getting a pop, a little bit of a pop up, a buck 20 here. Just kind of at the high of the pre-market. Not a lot of volume associated with this. A lot of times when there's like a big news event for a stock, I like to kind of keep an eye on the parameters from the previous trading day. Obviously, the low, which was far above the pre-market low of 61.10, got a low of 63.50. We're $3 away from there. I'd like to see what happens at 67.38, Dennis.
Yep.
That was the high from yesterday, and then above that, you got to fill the gap at 68.82. So if this upgrade is to take hold, I'd expect it to blow through that 67.38 level and fill the gap. But little tepid here in this upgrade.
Yeah, I think you'll see a little bit of defense there at that 67.38 high from yesterday. So I agree with you. Intel getting an upgrade at Jefferies here and actually trading up on 124,000 shares, up pretty substantially, up 39 cents right now. That's a huge move for Intel. So I had 3 down days in a row here, and it looks like now it's going to pop right back up to this whole 23 level. Do you think the sellers are going to line up here and fade this Jefferies upgrade?
A lot of stock here has traded in the pre-market. You had two higher lows. I'd like to see what happens at this $23 level because you had actually three, four highs right in the right. 23 makes it right smack in between there, between 22.84 and 23.13. So I think you open at that 23. If you can hold that 23 level, I think you have a chance to rally. But this might be one where it opens up at 23, gets a little dip. You only got to get down to 22.84. That was yesterday's high to fill the gap. But watch for this things trade in the pre-market 929, 930. See if it can hold the $23 level.
Looking at these health insurer stocks, Aetna, AET, and WLP, both getting upgraded by Bank America today. And just checking out the charts, I'll start with AET. Both of these stocks, actually all these health insurer stocks, have really been on fire. A lot of them are approaching or at all-time highs here. And Aetna is one of them as well. Closed kind of weak, but did break out through his key $66 level there yesterday before closing weak, but it looks like it's going to pop back up here in the pre-market. Just ticked to 66.5 on this upgrade. Is this breakout going to get some follow through here, there, Joel?
Whew. Well, yesterday's high was 66 and a quarter. You are trading above that in the pre-market. Uh, odd lots here trading on this thing, Dennis. Not even 1,000 shares have traded, so I'll still just keep an eye on yesterday's high at 66 and a quarter. I believe this is the highest this stock is. Is this the all-time high for it
Yeah,
on
I
here?
think it is. I went
Yep.
back to the monthlies and I haven't
Yep.
seen back to '05. I'm looking and it wasn't this high. I think this is an all-time high for Aetna.
Okay, as long as we're holding at 66 and a quarter, then this thing could be in breakout mode. And then the other one,
WellPoint
yeah.
WLP hasn't quite hit. Back in
Hmm.
July, it actually hit right up on the kisser to $90. So there is some overhead stock here, and that could come into play today. We're trading 89.29 right now. I do see some size lined up. I see 67,000 shares in the book at 90. So some institutions saying I'll sell the stock up here at 90. So I think that could obviously give you initial resistance here, as those high freaks love to lean on that institutional size.
Yeah, I'm only 70 cents away from there. Did break out. Well, looking at yesterday's trading too, 89.44 and 89.47. We haven't even taken out the double top yet from Thursday and Friday, so might run into a little initial resistance right there at the 89.50 level, and then 90 could be your major resistance.
You wanted to look at the casino stocks here this morning. We can start with MGM because they're actually getting an upgrade at Argus here today. There's also a big fight this weekend.
Yep.
That's happening obviously too, which could help MGM. But Argus upgrading the stock. It's trading up at 1913 right now. MGM closed at 1887, so that's approaching yesterday's high at 1922, just trading slightly below that.
Right. I believe Mayweather has a fight against a guy. I think it's
Yeah,
Canela,
Canelo.
who
Yeah.
43 and 0. So we'll see if
Wow.
yeah, Fancy Floyd Mayweather can continue, but definitely giving a boost to these casino stocks. Opening into resistance here, 1917, 1922, your highs from the past 2 days. So we'll see if the fight can, the hubbub can push them up here. Trading at levels that we have not seen in MGM going back until the financial crisis, October of 2008, since we've traded at these levels. So see if it can bust through that double top there.
It wasn't a bad buy though back in 2009. I'm looking at the lows and it looks like I'm trying to grab it there. It got down to about a buck 81 on March 31st, 2009. So if you bought that, you basically made 10 times on your money. So and all these casino stocks have really come back. Wynn Resorts here, WYNN. That's the same story. If you look back from 2009, just trying to grab the low, that stock got down to $14.50. It's now
Ooh.
$149, so you made 10 times your money on that one too. These casino stocks, who would have thought? Back in 2009, they all looked like they were going out of business, and they're back.
Right, and Win has some overhead resistance. Wednesday and Thursday's high 151.19, 151 and a quarter. Haven't quite reached that in the pre-market. Also keeping an eye on some an important downside level from almost identical ranges yesterday. TradeTheRanges.com.
Yeah.
Wednesday's low 48.86, yesterday's low 48.74. Pretty light volume day yesterday, so below this 48.70 level, you got about a $2 drop down to 46.27, and that resistance at the 51.19 and a quarter level sticking out like a sore thumb.
The best investment, best casino investment stock from 2009, though, would have been Las Vegas Sands, which is LVS. It got down to $1.38 on March 31st, 2009, and it is now $62.85. So I don't know, maybe one of our listeners can figure out the quick math return on that one, but that's in the thousands of percent here since 2009.
Yeah, nice return. The stock is approaching a key level. 66.73 is where it stopped yesterday, just shy of the high of the move at 63.98. Got this gap area here. Got down to 62.31 yesterday, but then rebounded. So keep an eye on that 62.31 here if you want to take some chips off the table in Las Vegas Sands.
Just looking here at gold, Joel, because it's trading down again. So we're just going to bounce over to the commodities here for a second. Gold actually trading down to about 33 cents on the ETF, or actually $7 on the actual gold futures, but it just continues to get weak. I think it was yesterday, Jeffrey Curry from Goldman's Commodities Research Chief. He's Goldman's Commodities Research Chief. He was on Bloomberg and basically saying that gold. He was warning that gold could go as low as $1,000 an ounce. I mean, we talked about this back a few months ago. If gold went down that way, all of your miners would be in big trouble because obviously their cost of production is on some of these much higher than 1,000 an ounce. So the miners have come back quite a bit with the recent rally in gold, but now that it's starting to show weakness again, it's starting to get scary for these miners.
Hey Dennis, let me break in with the PPI here. Producer Price Index for the month of August comes in at up 0.3%. Economists were looking for a gain of 0.2%. That core PPI number month over month was flat. Economists were looking for a gain of 0.1%. Year over year, PPI was up 1.4%, little stronger than expected, and core PPI was 1.1% year over year. Also, just that was retail sales, advanced retail sales for August, up 0.2%. Economists were looking for a gain of 0.5%. That retail sales number, excluding autos, was up 0.1%, as was the number for retail sales excluding autos and gas. And the retail sales control group data point there was up 0.2%. Economists were looking for 0.3% gain on that one.
That's a lot of economic data for the market to digest here, Joel. It's digesting it well, though, because it didn't move. E-minis here trading basically at the same price we were before that data was released. You see a little bit of bouncing around a bit here in the gold as we had it on the screen. Gold is down $10 here now, but kind of muted trading action here. Although gold is starting to sell off on those numbers, so we're seeing a little more response in gold than we are in the overall market.
Yeah, pretty good range in gold so far.
Yeah.
Today, just found resistance at the close. The close 1330.60. We hit 1330.80, and then took a dip towards 1300. Only got to 1304.60. That was 50 cents off the August 9th low, and then as you can see, we just got the rebound here. I'll be keeping an eye on Thursday's low at 1320.40. That's still a relevant number. We did pop above there, but if we can't get above and hold 1320.40, I expect us to drift lower on the day.
Bring up a couple of the minor charts here. We might as well talk about it. It's been a couple of days. Bring up that Barrick Gold off the bat. I know I always start with that one, but I'm still looking at. We were talking about the potential head and shoulders. Well, that looks like it is coming to fruition. Obviously, you had the left shoulder there in the beginning of August. We topped up in the middle of August where we made the head up to 2120, and then you formed the right shoulder towards the end of August, early September, and then the last 3 days we've just been breaking down. And this is the scary thing for Barrick Gold because it ran up so quickly at the end of August from $16 to $18 in 2 days, and now you're starting to get into that area where it ran up quickly. Sometimes it can run down quickly too. I don't see Barrick getting down to $16 that quickly, but there is a lot of air below in this Barrick.
It closed week 1757
Yeah.
low, 61 close. That's smack dab right at the low that you had on August 13th. Not sure if it's offered lower here in the pre-market.
It's kind of flat actually, 1760. So it's holding up pretty well here in the pre-market. So it does look like that 1760 level. They're going to try to maybe defend that low there.
Right, and I'd use that good swing number. Below that, you're looking at 1679. If for any reason you go into rally mode here, $18, 1804 was yesterday's high. And I remember talking about, why don't you hit me aside the head when we went through $19 on this thing, because that had been there'd been 7-8 lows in that area.
Yeah.
And, of course, it closed that one day at 1920 and then gapped down. So that's your major resistance. I'm sure we won't see that today.
Bring up Newmont to NEM because this one actually has been a little weaker than the Barrick. It never sold off as hard as the Barrick, but it's selling off a little bit harder. Not really this morning, but in the last couple of days, because 3 days ago this was above 30. It's now flirting with the $28 level, close to 28.23. Again, we basically ran up the same days that Barrick did. It ran up from 26.70. So once you start getting through this whole $28 level, it starts to open up too. But maybe we're going to get some defending there too on that level.
28.20 yesterday's low, 28.23 close, just flopping down 6 cents here in the pre-market on the gold sell. 28.21 was the low on August 9th. So despite being gold down another $12 here,
they're holding up.
The miners, they're holding up in the support. Maybe it's one of those occasions where you can just whack them off the open and see if you get the follow through.
Or maybe they hold up and defend that level, and maybe they can get a little relief rally. But the support until it's broken. That's the one thing to remember. Remember, we were talking about Google for so long when it was back there at that whole 845 or 847 level, and it was 3 4 days in a row trading 847, and we kept saying it's support until it's broken, and eventually, it had that little fake out where it went down $1 or something to 845.56, but then just turned around and just kept rallying, rallying, rallying. Actually, yesterday was its first down close there in about 6 or 7 trading sessions since it did break out through that whole 855 area. So support is support until it's broken, and sometimes you find these key levels. Sometimes they can reverse off of those.
Yeah, that I remember that Google move. That was the old Friday Monday move where it closed low right off the support, looking like it was just going to cave in, closed at 46.90, and then I can't remember the news that popped us up over the weekend, but it ended up gapping up and running back up to this $900 level. For Google traders here, finding some resistance in the upper 890s, 897.90 was yesterday's high. 896.97 was the high on Wednesday. So $6 away from there. Little resistance for me in the Googster.
The market here is just basically the same spot it was when we started the show. We have no pre-market volatility. I don't know what that bodes for when you don't have any volatility in the pre-market. It can't be that great for volatility in the regular session either. This could be one of those sleepy Fridays where not much happens because nothing really happening here in the pre-market. We don't have really that many huge movers here. We obviously just had the economic numbers, and that didn't really move anything. And we're kind of just sitting here hanging out at the 1678 level.
Yep, on 9/13 of 2013.
Friday the 13th. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. So maybe
yeah.
maybe there will be scare. Some superstitious people out there might think that's a bad number for the 13th or Friday the 13th on 2013, but I don't know.
Now, just looking at the close, we're just vacillating both sides of 1678 and a quarter. Mid-range on the day puts you at like 77 and a half, 78. So can't get real excited about any downside action, Dennis, until we take out the overnight low of 74 even, which coincides with Thursday's low at 74.75.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great weekend, and we will be back at you on Monday.